Hi all, I'm very pleased to start a new series for you on PI-WAT preparation. So here at IMS, we are going to bring you multiple episodes where you take you through the important tips, strategies required to help you ace the PI-WAT round. We have already put in a lot of efforts to crack the CAT, NMAT and SNAP, and now it's the time for the next round, perhaps the more challenging round. So here, if you follow this series well, you should be completely equipped to do well at the final PI round and the other preparation techniques like GD, WAT, so on and so forth. So starting with the first episode, how do you start your PI prep? When you are about to start, the task may look very, very daunting. What do I study? Where do I read from? How do I appear for interview? How do I dress? So on and so forth. So today in this first episode, I am going to tell you 4 things you need to do to start your PI preparation. The first thing is you start on a treasure hunt. Here I mean both A, find out your documents. So multiple B schools will ask you for documents. So please have all your documentation in place. For example, one folder where you have all your mark sheets, standard 10th, your 12th standard grades, your graduation grades, if you are working, your salary slips, your joining letter. Having this organized on your desktop or a laptop will make things much faster for you. Secondly, if you are going to make any claims that, for example, you have won a prize at a quiz, figure out if you have the certificate in place, because at a lot of B schools, for the top 3 to 5 activities, they will ask for some proof. At some B schools, they also ask you to maybe verify your credentials by getting an email. So for example, if you say that I won the best employee of the month, do you have, let's say, an email from that period to tell to the B school you actually won the best employee award, right? So do a treasure hunt, make a list of all the activities that you have won or participated in the past. Now a very important question here is, how recent should the activity be? For example, a very common question, sir, I won a poetry recitation competition in grade 4, does it help? I would say it does not help too much, right? So the thumb rule, the more recent the achievement is, the better it is for you, right? So anything that you have done in the last 3 to 5 years, in my opinion, has very, very high value. Something done in the distant past is not of so much of high value, right? So I would suggest that you start looking anything from grade 8 onwards. Grade 8 to grade 10 is in the buffer zone. Grade 10 onwards is where you really focus upon. Now some things like sports, maybe some of you are very active during school days but not very active today. So yes, in those cases, some of your activities will be from grade 8 to 10 in my opinion, right? So online courses, one more example. If you have done that, have you completed the course? Do you have the offline or online certificate to prove that you have actually completed the course? So make sure you are doing 2 things. A, making a long list of all your achievements, small, big, do not worry about it right now. Just compile all those. And second, check wherever you have documentation available. Now some things cannot be proved, some things cannot be documented, that's all right. But wherever possible, make sure you have the documents, especially all your identity proofs or your results. I'm sure you will have to have them at one place because you will need it at multiple places, and it will save a lot of time for you. Second, like I said, make a long list, but here we are going to go deeper. So for example, you have completed a course on Coursera maybe 2 years ago, and that course was, let's say, on digital marketing. Please check, do you want to say this in the interview that you have completed a course on Coursera? Why? Because you are going to say you have done a course on digital marketing, you will have to be prepared to answer questions on digital marketing. So evaluate, was that achievement worth mentioning in an interview? Yes or no, right? If you think you need to refresh concepts from that particular course, then maybe you'll have to devote some time to it, right? So you have the list of the activity. Is it worth presenting during the interview? Yes, no. Do you need extra preparation for the same? Yes, no. For example, from hobbies, right? You might want to say that, okay, I follow cricket. Now, saying I follow cricket will require some preparation from your side. You will have to maybe go through the latest stats, who hit the fastest ton, the first female cricketer to hit a double ton, so on and so forth, right? So allocate preparation time for the same. So here it's a list of all the things you want to say in the interview, right? It will be from these many different areas, I would say, from your academic projects and coursework. For example, as an engineer, you may have submitted the final year project, right? So first figure out where the project is and then check, do you remember anything from the project? If no, devote some time to reading that particular project. Maybe somebody is reading that project for the first time ever, including yourself, correct? Any internships or work experience. So how do you project that internship? You know, what were the learnings from the internship? Maybe you'll have to say, okay, 10 hours of preparations are required to go through my internship project. Leadership roles in clubs. So what project did you lead? What were the revenue? What was the impact? How many team members? So on and so forth, right? Volunteer activities, any personal projects or hobbies. I already spoke about an example in this particular case. And any competitions and awards that you have won. So I'm combining the 2 points, make a comprehensive list, then make a long list where you ensure that are you going to say it in the interview? Do you have proof for the same? Third step is now convert your long list to a 1-page resume. Now in most Indian B schools, you do not require 1-page resume, right? But how does it help? It helps you figure out the top 2 or 3 things in every category. So for example, what are the 2 or 3 top things to say in academic achievements? What are the 2 or 3 projects that you're going to say in your achievements? What are the extracurricular activities that you're going to say when it comes to the interview, right? So this is nothing but shortlisting your highest impact points from the long list. Now some of you might wonder, if you are going to anyways come to a 1-page resume, why did we make you do the long list? Because some things that you might not find very impactful while you make directly the 1-page resume, you will discover those when you make a long list. You will see a pattern. For example, you have won 8, 9, 10 different quiz contests from grade 8 to graduation, right? So you'll have to figure out, okay, my strength here, my hobby here looks to be quizzing. You are going to say, I won the highest level of event. So for example, I won the national event at, let's say, IIT, right? And then you don't need to mention all the different 6-7 quizzes that you have won at the district level, local level, so on and so forth, right? So you establish one trend that, okay, I'm going to talk about quizzing. Similarly, you are one person who participates in organizing a lot of festivals or events. So you would have mentioned, I've organized A, B, C, D, E, F. You will bring that all of that into one category, like, look, I like to organize events and this is my highest impact activity under that particular head. So that gives you a long list that will help you identify patterns that you can put on your resume. Ensure this is a 1-page resume, does not go to 4, 5, 6 pages or 2 pages, because this will only then serve the purpose of ensuring that you know which are your top 2, 3 activities under each category. Now here we may also have the reverse problem, that some of you may have been so engrossed in academics or doing something else that you do not have enough items on your 1-page resume, right? Some people say, sir, I can't fill up this 1-page resume. That's one category of students. The other category of students say, sir, I have so much that please help me fit everything into a 1-page resume. In both cases, I say don't worry, because then it will help you structure your preparation. So for example, if you do not have much on your achievements or your extracurriculars, what does it mean? That either your interview is going to be revolving around your academics. If you are a fresher, in that case you have to be hyper focused on going through your top 2, 3 subjects during your graduation, right? So if you are a BCom student, go through your accounts, management studies, so on and so forth. If you are an engineer, you will have to ensure that you know your basic specialization well, right? You can't say, look, I have not done extracurriculars, I also don't know my ACADS. It's going to look very bad. Or it will be revolving around your work experience, which means then you go through the technical stuff, your achievements, your projects at work. If you are going to have a lot of extracurricular activities, maybe, just maybe, you will have little less to worry about on your academic side. With the previous point, I would say, while you are at it, once you have made your 1-page resume, also you should update your LinkedIn profile, because some B schools, not all, have started asking for the LinkedIn profile link. So ensure that that is updated. At least your work, your latest projects, so on and so forth, are there on LinkedIn also, right? Point 4, last one for today's episode, is for some of the most common life incidents, okay, most common questions in an interview, you will write long answers in the CAR format. Now let me first give you examples of these important life incidents. One, give me one example of a situation where you demonstrated leadership. Second example, give me one example of a situation where you failed in a project. One example where you had to face an ethical dilemma, which is a very common question at SPJMR, and how did you handle it, right? A situation where you overcome adversity to achieve your goals, right? So all these are questions that ask you to reflect back on your life incidents and then come up with an answer that will help you justify your selection at a B school, right? So some of the other questions can be your strengths, your weakness, which I'm going to deal in a later episode, but as of now let's focus on life incidents, right? And you're going to write these answers in the CAR format, where R stands for, C is for context, A is for the action that you took, and R is for the results that you demonstrated or achieved. Now, for the question, one achievement. So, what was the context? So, maybe you are going to talk about that you led a team at work, or you led a team at your college event. So, what was the context? How many people were you leading? What was the project size? What was the scope? Correct? What was the challenge that you faced? What were the targets that you had set? So on and so forth, right? This is a very brief introduction to the incident at hand. Second, the hero of this entire action of this piece is your action. What did you do to achieve that task that was set in front of you? And third is, what are the results you achieve? Results can be both tangible and intangible. Something that can be quantified should be quantified. That when I led this project, I increased my revenue by 12.8%, right? Whereas my cost increased only by 3%. If you are working in marketing, I helped improve my company's social media reach by X% to Y number of followers, and hence my number of leads increased by X%, leading to Z increase in revenue. Wherever possible, please quantify. It will take a few minutes or hours of calculation, but please do that. Some things cannot be quantified, those can be mentioned in other terms, that how did it help you and how did it help the company, right? So the context, whatever action you took, and maybe if you're leading a team, the actions that the team took, right? And see, if you are leading a team, be gracious enough in your answers to say that this was done by the team and I led the team. If you're a team member, say I was a team member, right? So not everything can be done by only one person. Ultimately in an MBA, they know that most things works in teams. So ensure that you take due credit. If you worked in a team, say I was a team member. That is also a big enough contribution, right? So everything is in the CAR format, which is context, action and results. This will also help you frame your answers better when you are narrating the incident in an actual interview, right? So to summarize our discussion today, right, you will do a treasure hunt of documentation and events, jog down your memory and your cupboard. B, you will make a long list of all your activities. 3, you will make it into a one-page resume. And 4, to supplement these 3, most of the important life incidents, you are going to write the answers, okay? Write the answers in the CAR format, context, action, results. I hope this was useful. Let me know in the comment section if there are other things you want to know about the GD-PI preparation. In episode 2, I am going to talk about your daily reading preparation plan. Now, some of you will obviously need help with the GD-PI WAT preparation round. So let me tell you, if you're already a classroom student at IMS, the GD-PI preparation is a part of your program. So you need not enroll for it separately. And these are the program features. If you are a part of your live, online or test series or any other program, you can enroll for these programs at a special fee waiver. Everybody else who has not enrolled with IMS yet, unfortunately, then in that case you can enroll for our GD-PI programs. We do cover everything right from PI prep, lot of reading material including PI transcripts, articles, so on and so forth. And finally, you also have the advantage of getting a cash reward in case you convert to top B school calls. And please remember, we are with you always. So in case you unfortunately do not convert a call, we'll still support you in form of a waiver for our next year programs. So for more details, you can look at the link that is given to you below.